Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Claudio.
And we're
the
Hi Guys!
Iconic.
Yes!
Iconic. Hi guys, it's Chris and Claudio, and we're here with a couple of our really great friends. We have Connor, Alexis, and on Instagram, JFC Olive.
Today we have Alexis, Connor, and Olivia. Do you guys want to all introduce yourselves? Take turns. Say what you've been doing during the pandemic.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first. I'm Alexis. I love BoJack and Chris and Claudio, so I'm super excited to be on this podcast.
Oh,
you know, what better topic than BoJack to debut my podcast guest career?
Yes.
Here I am. Lately, I have just been unemployed and hanging out, watching TV and stuff, and painting and stuff.
Hi, my name is Olivia, aka JFC Olive. Thank you for the intro, Chris.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And I've been doing well. You know, I was a little bit hangry today. I didn't have food in the house. And then I got high and I feel good. And things have been going.
Are you not hangry anymore?
I'm not hangry anymore, no, because I have a beer and weed.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
Yeah, and actually my significant other made me dinner, so I know it's waiting for me after the recording. So all is good right now. All is great.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So things are good. Not hangry. I too have been doing a lot of art. I've been trying to get better at graphic art during this quarantine. And yeah, that's been like kind of a hobby of mine. Lots of buttons though. Lots of mouse clicking. Lots of buttons, lots of carpal tunnel. And yeah, but things otherwise are good. Love not going to work. That is so great.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Like, I think you all can feel me on this. Like, going to work sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it sucks we have to work 40 hours a week, but if we can either not do that or do it at home, I think that just really benefits a lot of people.
100%. Beautiful. Connor.
And I'm Quackers. Quack, quack, quack. I love that line, and I love this show. So I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, no, I absolutely adore BoJack. I stumbled upon this show when it first aired back in 2014.
Yes.
And I fell in love with it. And fun fact, so Alexis and I had been dating throughout the show's entire run. So we watched the first season together. I think it was at Olivia's house and we watched a lot of it too.
Ooh.
And I know there's so many webs. Everything's intertwined. So it kind of became a mainstay in our household. Every time the season would air, we would watch it the night that it came out and we would just binge the whole thing. So really happy to be talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And as for how my vibes have been pretty good. Just really busy. To keep myself entertained, I listen to a lot of music of every genre that I can find. I've been listening to a lot of trip hop recently.
Oh shit.
90s British hip hop.
Uh-huh.
And it is just such a fascinating genre to me because it's so genreless. There's never been that I've encountered a genre that just defies how I can categorize it, I guess, because it has so many different influences happening at the same time.
Trip pop is what you said?
Trip hop.
Trip hop.
So
got it.
this artist Tricky and Massive Attack and Portishead, and they all have their own thing going on. It's just really interesting to listen to.
That's fun.
I like that.
And I've also been listening to a lot of YouTube. I'm really interested in YouTube channels that are about writing and improving your writing.
Dude, there's many good ones.
There's so many good ones. There's unlimited channels. I'm still finding channels I didn't know existed, and then I'm oh, okay, I can binge this whole channel. Sweet. There's one called Savage Books especially that is worth checking out because they just do such a good job of laying out why certain TV shows or books or what have you work so well. It's such an interesting perspective and take of things that I wouldn't notice otherwise.
Oh, so they pick apart the writing style.
Exactly. In the editing and everything about it, that why this scene works or why this dialogue works, and they just go so in depth.
That's so cool.
I fucking love that.
And I know I love writing so much, which is why, again, BoJack is, in my opinion, the best show when it comes to writing I've ever seen.
Oh,
the best
1000%.
use of writing.
1000%.
So I'm happy to discuss. Let's do it.
Definitely. BoJack is one of the best shows in the world. The writing is comparative to a like classic novel, I feel like the amount of metaphors and just kind of literary devices they use to get across like plot line and character development and things like that. Like I literally feel it is like I feel like I've read a bunch of novels after I watched it, and I love the Tuca and Birdie and BoJack universe and that animation style and how whimsical it is. So I'm happy to be talking about it too.
Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. Those were all compelling reasons to be here. Wow. We're gonna go around and we're gonna say what we're high off of. We're gonna promote your local dispensaries, everyone, and their goodies. Say what you're smoking. Say what you're eating. And tell me what you usually do when you're high. Like, what do you listen to? What do you watch? Okay, Chris, do you want to start off?
Yes, I'll start. So I had a dope edible from Smokey's Edibles. It's like a sour watermelon chew, and it's delicious.
That's the same one you ate for Love Victor, huh?
Yeah, it's bomb.
And then what have you been listening to lately?
Well, I've been playing a lot of this video game called Ooblets, and it's the cutest shit I've ever experienced. It's on either the Xbox store or on PC, but it's literally like little Pokemon-esque characters, but the art style is reminiscent of like Summer Camp Island, and it's like all cute pastels, and it's so sweet, and there's like little mushroom guys.
It's like Animal Crossing and Pokemon had a baby.
Yeah, I have a farm. Oh, it's iconic.
Oh my god.
The little things you battle with, you grow them from the earth.
Yeah, and then instead of like actual fights, it's dance battles.
Yes.
And there's like a little soundtrack and everything. Oh my goodness.
Alexis?
Yes. So lately I've been watching like a lot of Netflix reality shows, which are awful, but they're so entertaining. Like The Circle and Love is Blind and Too Hot to Handle.
I love The Circle so much.
Yes.
Wait, have you seen all of them? They have like the Brazil.
No.
And
We've just seen the English version.
Oh, you gotta watch Brazil. You have to watch Brazil. Like, please watch Brazil.
Please.
And then give France a try if you have time.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, they're great. And then I've been listening to a lot of 100 Gex, which I know is like, like I feel like they've been getting more attention lately for just how fucking wild and weird and crazy they are. And I've been bopping at every single one, and it's like I can't stop now, and so it's like all the time, and it's like the first thing I think about when I wake up. And I just, like, play it. I like have to play it every morning.
That's amazing.
They invented music.
I feel like I'm like a baby that's like just dancing around super fast, bouncing baby.
It's so good. So it's baby pop.
Yeah, it's my baby pop.
Baby pop. Baby pop.
Perfect. But yeah, so that's my vibe.
You don't know what you're high on?
Oh, I do know what I'm high on for sure. Well, okay, so it's from Kushagram, which is like, there's quite a lot of them. It's definitely a chain, at least in the Southern California area where I am. So shout out to Kushagram. I have a Stizzy pen in front of me of whatever the cheapest sativa was. And then I have a bong with a bowl packed of whatever the cheapest sativa was. So I guess definitely my mainstay is the pen for sure. I carry that shit everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I love her. I need her everywhere. So that's definitely what I use the most, especially because I tend to get a little bit lazier when it comes to like actually taking hits. I don't know why. So like that pen is just like the easiest way to quickly get high without effort, because sometimes I'll like forget or doze off or whatever. And then it's hard to like actually keep at it to get to the mission. So that's my vibe.
What are you high on, Connor?
I echo Alexis's sentiments.
Cute.
Yeah, as we are the
We're
same
in
household.
100% alignment.
There is no swaying. It's all the same.
We're one organism that's just combined at this point.
Cute. Liv?
So this may shock you, but same as Connor and Alexis, Netflix reality shows and 100 Gex. Like literally, we I think those two are also rocking my world right now. I just want to do a plug for Indian Matchmaker. That is such a good show on Netflix right now. It just came out. Seema is a badass. Also, it's a very cool, in-depth look into a culture I think a lot of people don't know a lot about. And so, but it has all the makings of a great reality show because you not only see the business side of matchmaking, which is like a huge business, but you also go on the dates with people that she sets up. So it's awesome. It's a very unique reality show, which has like a little bit of everything from like a lot of different reality type TV. Also, Flora's Lava is really good.
Oh my god, Flora's Lava really has changed my life.
Oh my god, I want to go on it. Do you guys want to set up a team? I want to go on it really bad. I think I do really well.
I would too, because so many of them, they make some decisions where I'm like, why would you even do that?
I know. Big old shout out to my favorite, old reliable dispensary, LA Rush. But we're not in LA, we're in Ventura. But they always got cheap, good stuff. And everything around here closes at like 6 p.m. and they are open until 9:30. So I really appreciate that. I'm smoking some Kush cake right now out of a good old bong, old school style.
Old reliable.
That's beautiful.
So, a couple of classics there.
Well, I'm Claudio. I like to smoke weed.
You like to smoke weed?
No.
Wow, your true colors have shown.
Yeah,
But
I'm
anyway,
leaving. I'm out of here.
No, please.
Yeah, I don't think we can do this show anymore. I'm sorry.
This is the family podcast.
Anyway, so I used this brand called Shuggies. And it's cannabis-infused cane sugar. And I put it in some lemonade, and I drank it, and I'm high. Can you believe?
Love it.
And
I can't.
I got it from Harborside, San Jose, because my sister Jen works there, and it was a birthday present to me. And honestly, Shuggies shook me up.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
you can put it in anything.
You really can. Well, all right. Does anyone want to like take turns to summarizing BoJack, or does anyone want to like give it a go?
BoJack Horseman is a deep action adventure movie about a horse who plays by his own rules.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
Olivia,
You were already
some
there.
plot for the rest of us.
So definitely. All right. So BoJack Horseman is a cartoon series. It's a bit of a comedy and a drama, mostly comedy, but it does have very serious dramatic elements and a deep plot line. It is known for its deep plot line and character development, especially in the context of a cartoon. It takes place in a fictional Hollywood, California, and follows a former actor, BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, what I like about it is that it's like, and this tripped me out when I was first watching it, that part of the world is human and then part of the world is animal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is like such a cool thing about it. And then he's like, so he's like a washed up celebrity basically who was on a super famous TV show in the 90s, and he had like he's very thinky and very in his head, and so he has a lot of issues that he's always working through in the show. And so you become very intimate with just like what he's going through and how he thinks about things, and how being in this TV show and just his childhood has shaped like who he is now. Mm-hmm. And you just like come into it in his life, and he's just like a partier pretty much, and just like super into drugs, super into getting away from it all.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that definitely is a good summary of what the show's about. We're not here just to summarize. We're going to get into what inspires people to watch the show. So we're going to go over all the goods of the show. And Connor, do you want to start off with like the side characters? Because that is like the biggest good of the show.
Oh man, starting with the good of the show is going to take the whole podcast.
No, go for it.
So we have Todd, who is voiced by the magnificent Aaron Paul, and Todd is introduced as this character that is kind of unremarkable. He's just kind of the stoner kind of friend that lives on BoJack's couch at first, and then they really take their time to flesh him out, but he's always on some sort of get-rich-quick scheme or some sort of little side adventure that gets way less grounded than every other character's adventures. And he's never really in it for anything but the fun of it and the thrill, and he's just having a good time.
Yes.
But he's also a full person and has emotions and reactions to the things that people do around him, to where his friendship with BoJack deteriorates, and it's kind of like this slow decline that has its ebbs and flows, just like a friendship like that would be in real life.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, Todd is the best. But then we also have to contend with someone else who's also the best, which is Princess Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love her so much.
Me too.
Lover. She is a workaholic agent who is such a dynamic and interesting character because she's so close to getting there throughout the entire series. She's so close to figuring it out, but it takes her a long time before she's able to really parse through all the things going on in her life and figure out how she can have it all, basically.
Yeah, her struggle is like one of my favorite ones because I feel like she and Todd are in the same vein of how ridiculous shit gets in their lives. But like Princess Carolyn's is like filled with so much like dark shit. Like so much bad stuff happens to her. But like she's still this whimsical cat.
Absolutely. I think she is a bit, I think both Todd and Princess Caroline, I think really serve as like antagonists to BoJack, especially in the sense that they have gone through like very tough things in their lives and tough hardships, but both of them have like very positive outlooks on life and like use those hardships to like propel themselves forward, you know, where I think we see in BoJack it kind of, you know, hinders him in every way possible. But yeah.
Who's the next character?
We got
Diane
Nguyen. Diane is so interesting. She starts off as the ghostwriter for BoJack's book, and BoJack kind of sees her as a love interest at first, but it kind of evolves past that because she's dating the character we'll discuss next, and eventually gets married to him. But Diane is such an interesting person to be put into BoJack's life because she, like Olivia mentioned with Todd and Princess Carolyn kind of being a more positive outlook, you know, oriented towards doing things rather than kind of moping about it. Diane is like kind of caught in between that, where the character that she's around, she kind of feeds off of. Yeah. And it never really ends in like a good result until she figures out how to internally balance herself. But Diane is so fun. She is always trying to do what's right and can go really far in doing what is right to the expense of the other characters around her. But at the same time, you get it. Yeah. Because she's just trying to make a positive impact on the world.
Now, the only downside, like, so just so the listeners know, the only downside that a lot of people have with Diane is that her voice actress is a white woman. She is played by Alison Brie, but her character is a Vietnamese woman. And so a lot of people take issue with that. And like from the get-go, many people, part of the community said something, but just never transpired more than tweets. But recently, Alison Brie said that she does regret playing the character and that she did wish that it gone to someone like of the ethnicity. So I love Diane so much. That's the one thing that always holds me back into being like completely in love. Because I always just feel like it's just kind of weird. But I love the story written for her. And I love the voice acting. You know what I mean? Like the story, aside from the voice actress, the story for her is so important.
Yes, absolutely. And I think like, yes, it is a shame that they couldn't get a woman of color to play that character. But I still think Diane is exactly what you said, like a very complex, unique, relatable character. She's imperfect, and that is one of the things like so charming about her. And one of the things like it's just like her character has ups and downs like throughout the whole season. It's not just like a progressive like straight shot to like you know, self-actualized Diane. And I think that, yeah, I would consider earlier, I was thinking about who my favorite character is, and I had said Todd, but after I thought about it more, I really do think Diane is my favorite character, just because I think she is so relatable.
Dude, she is as so
like
relatable.
I've almost never really seen a more realistic character. Like that I can really think of, who I really feel like is like, as you said, sits in that in between of like having a super positive outlook and then being like totally devastated by your past, which I think is where most of us are like in real life. So yeah, I really love that about her. Like you said, Connor.
Yeah, I think the creator of the show, Raphael Bobbas Waxberg, is also stated that he regretted the casting of Alison Brie without like putting her on the spot necessarily, but just saying if he could do it again, he would have definitely gotten a Vietnamese actress to play her. And that is like a weird thing to listen to when you're listening to, because I love Alison Brie, she's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's just like, did she really need this role?
Yeah.
No,
not really.
No. Yeah, and someone else could have done just as much justice. I'm sorry, not saying that she's not great, but like some, you know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Alison Brie, if you're listening, you know, we like
we
you.
love you. We love you. We love you.
Chris, do you want to cover your favorite character?
He's not my final character to round out the little core group of main characters we follow is Mr. Peanut Butter. He sees BoJack as his best friend. BoJack sees Mr. Peanut Butter as the devil incarnate. He literally hates him with all of his heart. But Mr. Peanut Butter returns everything with love, and it's so strange to see him be a person.
I love that he's a dog and that he's like a golden retriever. It's like so perfect for like his loyalness and his like naivete and just like his level of enthusiasm. He like totally embodies that animal, I think, like the most out of any animals.
What I really love about him is not only is he a gold lab, but they constantly will make joke of it. Like we were rewatching and we just saw the scene where Diane and him were having such a serious moment, and she said, "Do I think you're a good boy? Yes, I do. Good boy. You're a good boy."
Yes.
And then he's like, "Do you know what I do when you leave the house? I sit right there and I wait to hear your car come up the driveway. Because when I hear it, I go crazy." Like, I hate how like casual they're being about him being a dog.
Yeah.
I think at one point,
I'm
sorry, Alexis. I think at one point he sees a mail truck driving.
Yes.
The officer, I forget his name, is like Whiskers or something.
It's Officer Meow Meow
Fuzzy Face. Meow Fuzzy Face has to pull over, and he can't resist it. And he starts speeding up to chase after the mail truck.
It's so good.
I think the last little bit about Mr. Peanut Butter is that although he comes off as a very naive character, he does have a lot of moments of like serious reflection. And I feel like he, amongst all the characters, everyone's biggest thing is that they're trying to figure out who they are or like how to be themselves. And Mr. Peanut Butter is definitely the kind of person that like will glaze over every serious issue and like not let it affect him, only because he doesn't want to feel the pain. That's what comes across, is like he doesn't want to feel bad. He only wants to feel good all the time. He'll do anything to just cover up his problems.
Yes. I was also thinking like, it's funny that Mr. Peanut Butter has these moments of like, he seems super ignorant to like for the most part, obviously he seems super ignorant to everything. And then he'll have these moments of like, no, like I know, like I knew, I'm not stupid. Like, I don't know. He just shows a lot of moments of like clarity, I feel, that are very funny for his character, because it's like, wait, do you know or do you not know? Like, are you trying not to feel pain, or do you just really not feel it because you don't get
like
what's
it puts you on edge? Like, it's so weird. But that's all the side characters. Like, that's the core cast, and that is reason enough to watch the show, because this show is like one of the only animated shows I've seen where every single side character is like fully fleshed out. They experience so much within the 6 seasons of the show, and their stories get like wrapped up in a great little bow. Like, I've never cared so much about animated characters that were like cats and dogs. You know what I mean? Because trust, I've cared about a lot of animated characters, but I would never think like a dog, a cat, a horse was gonna like find its way into my heart.
No, fuck Milo and Otis.
I love how like every one of the like main characters has had like multiple episodes like exploring their past and like why they're like that, why they make the decisions that they do. Like, I feel like they're really good at like character building, and like it is really funny that half of the world is like animals.
That can lead us to the next topic. I think the next best thing about this show is the writing.
Yeah, for sure. The writing is like so insane.
Yeah, for me, my favorite thing about with the writing is that it can be so serious but so ridiculous at the same time.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Another reference to like Princess Carolyn is like when she's really going through some shit, but then she has to say like an alliteration. Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so wild. And then like Todd goes through so much crazy shit that's weaved throughout. Like, he's always like the C storyline, and his stuff is always so insane. But then he still has like serious moments of self-discovery. Like, never forget when Todd got kidnapped by an improv group.
Oh my god, I just watched the episode today, and that is so good. So good.
And that's not a spoiler because it's not a huge plot point. It's literally such a great little story arc that happens in one of the seasons. Like, that's the tip of the iceberg.
Connor, do you want to talk about the writing a little?
Oh, I would love to. I feel like, honestly, the writers of this show should be teaching English at the most prestigious universities in the nation.
Honestly.
I completely agree. Completely.
No show, like, I would say even, like, just, like, writing or literature in general that I've seen or read has such, like, layers to it, and the mastery of just language as a whole. Like, they're using every single literary device possible, often at the same time, and using them so effectively. And like Claudio said, they'll use alliteration and just go crazy with it. Amy Sedaris as Princess Carolyn is perfect at delivering every single silly string of words that's just like a tongue twister.
I love that so much. I was hoping someone would mention it or we could talk about the alliteration devices, but like they are so cute and fun, and I like they totally do put them just in the middle of like serious ass scenes. And but it works so well. It just works because it's what is written is good, and like if it's good, it's good. I think that's like one of the main things about I think that's one of the themes of BoJack as a whole. We see in his character as well, and that's like reflected in the writing, is like the serious v silly is like BoJack, you know, himself is he has an extremely dramatic past, but everything is a joke to him, you know? And it's like the show, it goes through some extremely deep themes and plot lines, but like almost every line has something silly or funny or whimsical in it. Yeah. You know? That's the first show I've ever seen like that. Sorry, not to roll over.
No, you're good.
Connor.
Please. Yeah, I just feel like they take so many risks as well. They tell stories differently within episodes, and they dramatically change their style without any warning. They'll just, we're going to do an episode where BoJack never says a word except for the very beginning. Or we're going to do an episode where it's just BoJack monologuing. That's it. They put constraints on themselves all the time just so that they can make an even better product, because oftentimes when you're writing, if you narrow it down and you take away a lot of the tools that you can use, you're forced to be more creative overall. Yeah. And they just do that perfectly.
See, I recently discovered that a lot of my favorite animated shows do the same like experimental stuff in their writing. Like they'll take a risk and do a bottle episode where they're all trapped in one confined space for a whole episode. They'll take a risk where like an entire monologue or like the entire episode is silent. And I think it's just like a testament to the writers. Like if they can pull off this weird experimental stuff and still make you love the episode, like that's good shit.
Absolutely. Honestly, my favorite episodes of BoJack are the experimental episodes.
They don't miss.
They sure don't. We'll have to remember that for the spoiler half, because there are so many that I want to talk about.
Yes.
But I think it's a lot of good. There's obviously we can say more good, but I think we're gonna get more in depth. Does anyone have any bad? Now, the bad does not have to be for the writing or acting. It could be like the way you feel, how it affects you personally. You know what I mean? So does anyone have any like bad that they would like to mention?
I do have one, and it's actually not like a constructive critique, just a trigger warning. Honestly, like I guess this is kind of a spoiler too. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to be very vague. BoJack goes through a lot in his early history, especially, and lots of it reminded me of my own family. And And those episodes I love to skip.
Yeah.
Like, love to skip. Like, some of the episodes can be hard to get through. Not most of them.
Ones.
Yeah, yes. No, they've got great plot and great stuff to watch. It's very hard for me to get through some episodes of BoJack.
No, I could relate to that because after like the end of season 2, after the end of season 5, that stuff hit so hard, and not even for it being like too close to home, but just because like they really make you fall in love with each character, and when horrible stuff happens to them, you can't help but like have a involuntary reaction where you feel just as bad.
Yes,
100%. And it's not just feeling bad for them, it's feeling literally what they're feeling. Todd is my favorite character, and I've been so on his same wavelength the whole show, so that whenever he has any climactic character moments, I feel like exactly what he's feeling, whether it's like betrayed, lost, not just sad, you know?
Like you're angry for them. Like
yeah.
Like when Todd found out that BoJack, I'm gonna make it vague. When Todd found out that BoJack did something to fuck with him, that would have made him happy. Like it hurts. Like you feel bad for him. You're like, what the fuck, dude? But I do know, like, a lot of people can only take the show in doses. So if anything, that's the bad. Is like, it's not even inherently bad. It's more like a warning that if you do get really attached, prepare yourself to want to take breaks. Or if some of it is too close to home, prepare to take breaks, because they cover a lot of serious topics. It can be overwhelming sometimes, but it doesn't turn me away from watching the next episode.
It honestly, it did turn me off for a little bit. Like, I was super into the show and was waiting for every season to come out. And I think, I don't know, maybe it must have been after season 4. I think I was like, I need a break. Like, I just need a break. And then when the next one came out, I just felt so like, is it gonna be like more stuff? But honestly, I regret feeling that way, because like then I watched season 5 and I was like off. But it was like right when season 6 came out, I picked it back up. So I was like, you know, and then I regretted not watching it. But it's fine, because Netflix, you know, easy streaming, can watch it whenever I want forever, right? So
Oh, I don't even think we said that it's a Netflix original series.
It is a Netflix original series.
I'll make sure we put it in the description. But BoJack Horseman is a Netflix original series.
I just had 2 quick things that I want to mention on my bad, and they're kind of nitpicky because the show's so good. But I feel like season 1, the first half, and this isn't like a rare opinion to hold, but season 1, the first half is pretty lackluster compared to the rest of the show. I find it's not terrible, but it doesn't give you a good representation of what the show's going to become. There's just a couple episodes that are just like like episode 3 and episode 5 are pretty but once you can pull through those first few episodes, and there's some good stuff in there, it's just not representative of BoJack as a whole. And then my other nitpick is, I don't want to get spoilery, but it also really doesn't matter, but I'll keep it vague. There's a character that's hyped up at the end of season 2 and appears in the beginning of season 3, who is a playwright, and she doesn't do anything for the plot or like move it forward really for the amount of attention that they give her.
Is it Jill Pill?
It is.
Yes.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Like, she's not memorable, and it's kind of a waste of Maura Wilson's talents.
Yeah, wasn't she gonna do like a play with like puppets?
Yeah, it was like a 1 episode thing. And I get it, like that happens for sure on a lot of shows, but when you have a show that is so adept at handling characters, it really sticks out like a sore thumb with the one character that they didn't do anything with.
Damn, I totally forgot about Jill Pill. But all right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back. The second half of the podcast is gonna be all the spoiler, all the analysis. It's gonna be TTT. So take a hit, and we'll talk real soon. Alexis, I can't believe you made shirts for Shane Dawson.
So many hoodies. So many pig hoodies. And I don't know do you guys know who Danny Duncan is?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I
Thankfully,
don't know.
no.
He just makes really bad merch because all of his stuff say virginity rocks and then I heart hot moms and then practice safe sex, and it's just so cringy.
I always see virginity rocks. I didn't know where it came from though.
Bruh, we make thousands a week.
Oh
so
my
many in all the
God.
different colors, so many virginity rocks, and it's just like really cringy. And then one time he came to the office and he like got in it, or like he was in the warehouse where we like print the stuff, and he got like naked into his boxers and took a picture with like the printing warehouse workers, women, and he like got naked and they were all wearing shirts with it. They were all wearing like, I forget if it was his merch or merch with like his face on it, like, but whatever it was like his merch basically, and he was like naked and just showed his ass, and as there were a bunch of like older women like.
Did he put it on his Instagram?
I don't think he ever like really put it anywhere.
Oh my God, I can't believe you saw that.
Yeah, it was really cringy.
You're like,
just stuff like that I'm like, I can't, this isn't how I can really like live. I just don't agree with this.
It doesn't fit my lifestyle.
Yeah, this is too cringy.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to the fun stuff. So everyone's gonna say their favorite character and their favorite episode. All right, Chris.
Oh man. Okay. I have a first real favorite character, and then I have a second like favorite pop-up character that comes up every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So my first favorite all-time character is Todd Chavez, but my second minor character is character actress Margot Martindale.
Yes, thank you.
And my favorite episode is the episode with Becca the chicken.
Oh my God.
Bookmark?
Yes.
Yes, you will look back.
That's such a good one, because that's the one with Officer
Meow Meow Fuzzy Face.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and they're like, "You're a loose cannon."
When they sit there all day arguing, like trying to find out whether he's a loose cannon or
a
good cop.
A cop who's got nothing to lose.
Yes.
And we all agree he's a loose cannon, but he gets results.
I love the tropes in the show.
They play on them so well.
Yeah, it's good.
Dude. When BoJack pulls up, when Margot Martindale gets right out of prison, and he's like, "You in? I got a heist." And she's like, "BoJack, I've been out of prison for 2 minutes. What took you so long?" And then jumps in the car. It's so good.
She's amazing.
Oh my God.
Okay, Alexis, favorite character, favorite episode.
Okay, favorite character is Princess Carolyn, because she's just such a hard-working feminism icon.
Yes.
And I really look up to her. She has a lot of great qualities in her.
Mm-hmm.
And then like secondary character that I love that's like small role is definitely Vincent Adultman, which is just so absurd and silly and plays on one of the best tropes there is. Vincent Adultman is like dates Princess Carolyn, but he's actually too like little kid, like 10-year-old maybe. I don't know. Do you guys know how old they are?
I think they're 12.
12. There's like 3 12-year-olds stacked up on each other with a trench coat. And it's so funny.
Oh.
It's so blatantly obvious that they're kids, right? But it's like she doesn't even notice.
She doesn't care.
Only BoJack
No,
notices.
BoJack notices, which she thinks, adulted?
Yeah.
I did a business.
a business.
That's good. You did a good impression.
It's really good.
Thank you.
What's your
And
favorite
then,
episode?
Yeah, so my favorite episode is called Free Churro. And it's the one where it's just a monologue.
That one, yeah.
It's just like, it was really good, and it ties through a lot of things, and it's a really good way of just, I love like shows when there's an episode that really deeply explores like how somebody's feeling through something such as a monologue through the whole episode, like, and it's just like really, I don't know, it's just so interesting, and I was like glued onto it the whole time. Like that was one of the episodes that I felt like I couldn't blink, you know, like I was I was like so engaged. That was the one episode that really just had me crying because of how well he was delivering his lines. Yeah. Oh my God, the acting was great.
Connor?
So I have to agree with Chris that the best secondary character has to be, without a doubt, character actress and fugitive of the law, Margot Martindale. It is so absurd. It is so delightfully absurd that Margot Martindale would voice a version of herself that just commits so many crimes and is just an outlaw. And then at one point, like, they're in Yorba Linda and she's in a shootout with the police.
Yes, and we used to live right next to Yorba Linda, so it's like great. And we went to that museum that they go to, the Nixon Museum.
So
oh, that's so good.
And Todd's like, we said no guns, and she goes, I thought we said no gum, and Todd goes, but you're chewing gum right now, and she goes, I'm a everything she says is gold. But then my favorite main character is probably Mr. Peanut Butter. I love how they take their time with him. Every other character, they kind of lay out who they are relatively early on. But Mr. Peanut Butter, and to an extent Todd too, they like really like sow the seeds and wait for a while before they reveal more about that character than just the jokes that they're making and their surface level, the person they present. And I really enjoy his arc. He has a very interesting arc that is much slower than the other characters and doesn't have the dramatic ups and downs, but he doesn't react as much to everything around him. But it still has an effect on him in the long run.
My favorite thing about Mr. Peanut Butter's growth is the beautiful flourishing of him and Todd's friendship.
Oh, it's so wholesome.
It's the most wholesome thing in the show. And every time they hang out and just do dumb shit together, I'm like, yes.
They are fantastic. Their plot lines are ridiculous. And they add so much of that comedic relief that is often needed in some episodes.
The best idea they had was the Halloween store that's only open in January.
Yes.
My favorite episode, so I want to mention two real quick. My favorite episode that's more funny is season 2, episode 8, and it's the episode where they do Hollywood stars and celebrities. God. What do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out. And the whole episode is gold. You have J.D. Salinger, who's my favorite miner. He delivers the best line in the entire show, which is, I'm J. Goddamn D. Goddamn Salinger. It really encompasses everything BoJack is. And it's really funny, but it also has a lot of exploration for Mr. Peanut Butter. And then my favorite serious episode has to be season 4, episode 11, Time's Arrow, because I feel like it's the riskiest move. Maybe the monologue's just as risky or more risky, but the riskiest move the show ever made was to devote an entire episode to the show's closest thing to a villain. Like, the closest thing they have to an antagonist who only exists to make BoJack's life more miserable and brings nothing else to the table. You only see the effect she has on BoJack, and then it takes it back, and also adding in the layer that she is suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever she has. Exploring why she is the way she is and not making excuses, but just explaining what she became. She became a product of the environment that she was raised in.
That episode is also my favorite episode. And let me tell you why. My great-grandmother is literally pushing 100, I believe. And when she was active, like 80 years and younger, she was so like full of life, you know, and she like was just such a character. And as like she lost her husband, and that just really like snapped something in her mental psyche, and she like started to just deteriorate. And now she can't like really speak much and she doesn't really remember much. And then every once in a while she'll have a good day where she just will tell you stories about her childhood. And so anytime stuff like that is mentioned in in the media, I'm always like really sensitive. That episode was the most perfect example of like what it is like to live with that. Like this show, when it talks about mental illness and it shows you like an actual representation of what's going on inside the mind, that's what I like. That's my shit, you know? Because not a lot of people can pull that off, and not a lot of people can be like truthful. Like it's usually over dramatized, like cyberbully. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this job does such a way better job of like actually tastefully discussing topics and like making you think and just like really getting into like really heavy hitters, but doing it very like tastefully and sensitively and still very thought provoking.
Yeah, because that episode really does make you care for his mom. So my favorite character is also Princess Carolyn because she is an amazing woman, and I aspire to be as much of like a get shit done kind of person. And my secondary favorite character is Holly Hook.
Aww.
Yes.
I love Holly Hook.
She's great.
What I really love about her is that she is so truthful to herself. Like she's the only character to really come in and be like confident with herself.
Yeah, she's a good kid. I think like in a way it's good that she didn't find BoJack until later in her life.
Yeah.
Because like it could have been very different if she like grew up with BoJack, because BoJack's can't be a dad or any kind of figure to anybody. He can't have any relationships with anybody, really. So.
Is it my turn for favorite character and episode? Okay, cool. So my favorite episode, I love this episode because it's so fun. It's one of the weird experimental episodes, but it's Int Sub in season 5, where we have Dr. Indira and her wife Mary Beth, who is a therapist and a mediator, so they cannot talk about their days due to client privilege and privacy laws. But it turns out that they are helping BoJack, Diane, Todd, and Princess Caroline, but they are known as Bobo the Zebra, Princess Diana, Tangled Fog of Pulsating Yearning, and then Todd is Emperor Fingerface. And Princess Caroline is just like a ball of like shining yarn that looks like a cat, but she's the Tangled Fog of Pulsating Yearning. And so I just love that episode. I think it has a great resolution, and I think it's just really fun. But then it also gets into the depths of especially like BoJack and Diane's relationship. But also I'm a mediator, so I really identify with the whole like mediation. We have to do mediation before forced arbitration. Yeah, about that episode, I think that's a really fun episode, and that's my favorite one.
No, it's a good one.
I love Judah as well as a side character. Spoiler alert, but Princess Caroline's whatever.
You can say it. This is the
I can say it.
Part. Yeah.
Spoiler.
All right, yeah. Princess Caroline's future husband and her former assistant, Judah. He's handsome. He's a handyman. He's rugged. He likes to bike and exercise. He's caring. Yeah, no, but he's also really caring. He just, has his own way of showing it. But I think he's good for Princess Caroline. I think he's just a fun, unique character. I've never seen a character like him.
Yeah, he's really unique.
And he's really unique, but he's a cool guy. He's kind of hot too.
Especially when he let his hair down. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then he played the guitar. I was like, take me away. But,
definitely.
Okay, so does anyone want to like talk about any major analysis of the show? Because there are so many facets of what BoJack is.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to like start off with their analysis?
Yeah, I'll start off with one that we've kind of talked about it like a lot already. Just like with generational trauma, like basically the whole plot line of just like when he goes to that house in Michigan, like his family's lake house. It just like stood out to me a lot. But just like showing the intimate scenes of Beatrice, which is like his mom, and in the house, like how misogynistic the whole household was, and just like how her dad was and her mom were.
Yeah.
And like And there was like Cracker Jack, her brother, and like how little she was valued over Cracker Jack, who was like in the army and then eventually killed off.
Yeah.
And like I just thought it was crazy how the dad would give her like pretty pills and stuff.
Yeah, and then she basically lost her mother because
yeah, that was so crazy that like she had hysteria. So like one night she was really sad that like her son had died, and then he fucking lobotomized her the next morning because she went into hysteria. But it's like literally she was just going through it. But then it paralleled so much with like how BoJack is, like when BoJack, because she was super reckless, right, when she was like driving home that night after she was like really in her feelings.
Yeah.
And she had like Beatrice, her daughter, like drive them home, and which was like really dangerous. And that's just how BoJack would react, right? Like if something traumatic happened to him, or if he started feeling anything, he would just like go on a crazy wild binge just to feel alive. And it's like, damn, this is like so, like I get why he's like this, and it just like makes why he was the way he was, like in season 1 especially, just like makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
I've always cling to like the topic of generational trauma because I feel like it's such an unavoidable thing, you know, like it just happens because you as a person are just like, you've experienced shit. Everyone's experienced different shit. But then when it comes to raising a child, like how do you keep the bad parts from you from showing?
Yeah, I just like, I always think that like it's interesting to watch shows where they really reveal like why characters are the way they are. And like, I don't know, for some weird reason, even though it's like kind of terrible, I like analyzing how like parents and family, how they like grew up can shape and affect who you are as an adult. But then like also I totally believe that like you can experience something like that and then do good. And like you don't have to do what BoJack's doing. Like, but I think that's the whole show, right? That we all know that BoJack, we understand why he's like he is. We wish he wasn't. He wishes he wasn't. We all wish that things were different.
yeah.
And that's like prevalent throughout the entire show too, because everybody is like somehow affected by their family members.
Oh, like Todd and his mom.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, there's a quote. I can't remember what season it's from, but BoJack basically says that he grew up thinking that being happy was selfish. And he's like commenting, I think, on Christianity and saying that like we like glorify like martyrdom and selflessness and like completely sacrificing yourself, and that like that's why he's never happy, because every time he's happy he thinks he's being selfish, but then he thinks he's a selfish bad person, so he just like does bad things. And like I don't know, I see that in like how he was raised and with his family, like any sort of like pleasure or anything fun or anything that wasn't painful was considered like selfish and bad. And yeah, it's a little bit similar to how I grew up sometimes. So I totally relate to that. And it's a really poisonous thing to grow up with and think about. And I think it's why BoJack does a lot of these things, because he feels like, you know, he doesn't deserve to be happy. He's never going to be happy anyway. So why not just like fuck it all?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Could I say something that was like so sad? When he was watching the TV, and was it Secretariat that was like reading off letters from fans on the TV, and he was like trying to watch it, and then right as like his big childhood idol started reading like his little note, his mom just like interrupted and just was being super nitpicky and bitchy.
Yeah.
And like over the whole thing, and it was just so sad because he needed to hear his idol speak. He really needed that. He wasn't like having a good time in life, and his mom just like stomped over it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so heartbreaking.
It
is super heartbreaking. It's so awful.
But yeah, just don't stand too close to the TV. It'll make you cruel. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh God, no, that's so fucked up.
It's such a good line.
And then when she says, after that, I think she says, well, that's enough of me being a great mother. I'm going to go hydrate heart medicine. Like, holy shit, dude.
Terrible.
I think another good topic about the show is like the effects of what Hollywood does to people. Because I've never seen such a good representation of what it means to like grow up in Hollywood or like be stagnated because of it. Like you just stop taking responsibility for your actions, and you stop growing as a person.
I feel like you really see that in Sarah Lynn too, which I don't think is a character that we've really mentioned.
Oh, poor Sarah Lynn.
Yeah. The reason why I don't like talking about her is just because it makes me so sad.
Yeah, it's the saddest thing for me.
It's the saddest part of the show, yeah.
So Sarah Lynn is one of the was one of the characters on BoJack's show in the 90s, and she was very young when they were filming the show, and didn't really have a father figure or a good parent. And BoJack, she looked up to BoJack as like her actual father figure. And as she grew up in life, like she took a turn in the wildest ways. And now as like I think she's like 30, right? She's like 30 something. She is dealing with like all these problems because she was never told no growing up. Like she was never disciplined or told to, like how to be a good person. She just grew up in the spotlight and no one told her anything. And then when she became too old for them, she was tossed to the side. So like she's just sitting on all this money and drugs and trying to figure out like what to do with herself. And that's like the same shit BoJack does. Like it's what Hollywood does to some people is they just stop being a good person because they don't have to be.
Yeah, they get each other on like a level that like I feel like she was like one of the ones that really got BoJack. Like, because they had known each other for so long. I think he was really important to her.
But something to consider, I think Charlotte says it, BoJack's ex-girlfriend, the deer, when he's in New Mexico, and he's asking her about, like, leaving LA. And he said, like, do you still think LA is a swamp? She's like, no, you're the swamp.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, not you, but I think it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you are. And I think that was kind of the point of BoJack, like so many times trying to get away from LA. And I think in that season, getting the literal boat called Escape from LA. And and then in even later seasons when he goes to teach at Wesleyan and everything. And it's like, in the end, those weren't the things that changed who he was. Like, those weren't the things that changed who he was. Like, he could have totally been in LA, and I think grown as a person, like around the people he loved, and wouldn't have to escape. But you know, the controversial.
I have a topic I'd like to discuss, if I'm allowed.
Oh, you're allowed. Not only are you allowed, you're encouraged.
Oh my god, thank you. I'm so flattered. So, going in line with like what we've talked about how the characters are changing a lot, I feel like they all undergo their own metamorphosis, but it's like a realistic sort of change where the characters don't just go in this linear path upwards, but especially BoJack, but everybody kind of has the dip when they start going back up, and then they have a huge dip when they start going back up. And it's this constant struggle to improve themselves, and it never really ends. The final episode of the show concludes with the characters in their spots, and some of them are happier than others, but there's no resolution for a lot of them, and they're still going to continue changing. We don't know if BoJack's going to keep going in the right path, or if he's going to go back into Hollywood, or I guess at that point it's Hollywood. And if he's going to deteriorate again, we don't know, and we don't know what his relationships are going to be with certain people. But I really enjoy how the show portrays characters trying to change and make amends and failing all the time, because it's a pretty realistic portrayal. And I feel like a lot of shows do have characters that go in linear progressions, or maybe they have some dips along the way, but they're all so dynamic.
I totally agree, because there are some shows where a character never changes. For example, a show that I really love but will never will never progress their characters forward is Archer. I love Archer so much, but I know that I only watch it for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? Because those characters, they point out their flaws consistently, but they never change as a person. But this show does a great job of actually pushing people forward. Because even in the beginning, it feels like you just like walked into their lives.
Yeah.
Because they had so much life before the show started.
Like that episode where it's 2007 and every song is like, we're 2007.
Yes.
And you see that they all had this extensive backstory even then, and they all had these intertwining plots. Explains them better.
May I just say about that episode specifically, because that is another favorite episode of mine. Because I believe Princess Carolyn is wearing like a fedora, like a blue denim fedora, and like a mini skirt, and I think maybe like an off-the-shoulder top and Ugg boots, and like that's her 2007 look. And then Mr. Peanut Butter is wearing a Von Dutch hat and like an Ed Hardy shirt. And I just really love memes about the early 2000s. Like they really tickle me. So
I know we don't see enough. We don't see enough
We
early
don't.
2000s memes.
No, we don't. I need them to start really coming into style because it was such a weird time. But yeah, I think especially with I think it's like, never mind. I'm not gonna. I was gonna sing the like, it's not 2006, it's 2007 song. It's like kind of sounds like the Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember the tune.
Or the radio being like, it's 2 months later in 2007.
the way they incorporate all of the dialogue with flashbacks is amazing, because it'll like flash to a scene and they'll be like, here's a question, and then the response is always like, yes, because it's 2008.
Or like somebody's reading, it cuts to somebody reading a book, and the book is titled The Next Morning.
Yes.
That's so good. I have a topic of discussion that I'd just like just to throw out there, and whoever wants to latch on, they can, you know? How do you think this show does in handling the big, I guess, like, writing twist in season 6 and I guess, like, the second half of season 5? And where in most television that have, like, a shitty main character, they just kind of get away with everything. And we never really see the full repercussions of their actions, especially when it's about, like, men in Hollywood. How do you guys feel this show handled that second half, where BoJack was finally confronting what he did? And even like Raphael Waxberg said, like, it was in response of like the Harvey Feinstein stuff that was happening in real life, you know, because he felt that people were like seeing BoJack as like an inspiration, the same way that even Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty said, like, people should not relate to this character. Like, if you think that you see yourself in this character, get help. So, like,
absolutely.
How do you guys feel about the second half of, like, how did they deal with the situation?
Well, have you seen that meme that's like the I didn't get it and relate to I can't remember the exact meme, but it's like greatly misunderstood the show and related to the bad main character starter pack. And then it's like Rick from Rick and Morty, BoJack from BoJack Horseman, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, like, and then someone else. Or
like a Walter White.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Walter White, maybe. Like, yeah, absolutely. But I think that relates kind of to the theme of like accountability in a way. I think the show handles accountability in a realistic but somewhat idyllic way. I think there's a part in the show where it's like earlier in the seasons, and I think it is after what happens in New Mexico with Penny and Charlotte, and he's saying like, how can you undo something so bad that it feels like you can never be forgiven? Like, how can you ever atone for that? And I think the person says, like, you can't. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not misquoting this, but I know he wonders to himself, like, how do you ever atone for something so bad that it just feels like that person will never truly receive justice? And it's like, especially with the Penny and Charlotte situation, she was like, never talk to me again. Like, I don't ever want to see you. And I think a lot of people, like, in his path of destruction, shut him out. So it's like, I don't really know what I'm saying, but I do feel like he did receive justice in the end. He did his 14 months, and, you know, we don't see what happens to him, but it did seem like he was in a good place where we leave off with him in the last episode. You know, I have my own theories about prison and jail and how we should respond to things like this, but I think BoJack, after all these years of leaving a path of destruction, I think really his biggest justice was in, even though he still needed to get better, and start doing better things, not everybody had to forgive him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Like-
my biggest thing about this show is that they really play on forgiveness
Yes.
when you've done something unforgivable. Like
Yes.
in
Yes.
season 1, I think there's even like a moment of it in every season, but in season 1, he tells Herb like he's sorry, and Herb says, I don't accept your apology.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a wake-up call. It's like, just because you're saying sorry doesn't mean you're a good person, and doesn't mean that you just like delete what happened.
Mhm.
No, absolutely. And I think in like the last episode, it's like everyone's having a good time. Princess Carolyn like invites him to, the wedding, but he finds out it's the industry wedding. It's not really the real wedding, but like he's still like, there's no hard feelings. She still wants him to be there. And then, but he's like, oh, so would you be my agent again? And she's like, no, I can just introduce you to someone I know, and it's like, he's like, okay, right. I have to accept that. Right. And then it's like with Diane on the roof, he even says like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if this was the last time we ever saw each other? And she's just like kind of nods and is like, huh.
Yeah.
Like indicating like, yes, this very well may be the last time we see each other because I don't plan to see you again, And like she's made it very clear, like I have a different life now and I'm not the person who I was in LA anymore. So I think even more than the prison and rehab and like anything else he could do, I think it's that he still needs to continue to be a good person, but needs to know that not everybody needs to forgive him and just pretend like it never happened. Or like maybe people can forgive him, but they're not going to forget. They're not just going to go back. And same thing with Todd as well. Like Todd said, you're like, even though they had that time on the beach in the last episode, it's like, and he gives him good advice. Todd made it clear, earlier in the show, like, we're done. You're a toxic person. I'm not that best friend anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think just like BoJack realizing he can't use people anymore because they will leave. And like, it's not that they hate you and it's not that they're holding a grudge over you. It's just they cannot for themselves be around you anymore. And I think that is his greatest justice, that he can't do that to people anymore. Or he can't do that to those people he did it to for so many years, I guess, anymore.
Yeah. Well, Connor, Alexis, how do you guys feel about that little pitch I gave you?
Alexis, do you want to take this one first?
I mean, in my like liberal leftist self, I'm like, he'll never get the actual justice or like he just deserved way more punishment. But also not jail. Just like more from his I feel like his career could have taken a bigger hit.
Yeah, that's something
the
else
industry.
they also point out too. Is like, who was it? Hank Hippopopoulos has so many allegations against him, but his career is thriving.
Yeah.
And when Diane tries to oust him, it gets turned back on her.
Yes, yeah, he hurt Diane's career, and then like with the whole Gina thing. And how like he never really like got a huge like media anything for that. It just kind of skated by with that, but then people afterwards had like a different perception of her.
Yeah, that's what hurt me the most is when she did that interview and she said, please just like don't make it a big deal because I don't want to be that girl. Like I don't want to be that person that was choked by BoJack because that'll follow me forever.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is more on like what I'm trying to say is like, did he really deserve forgiveness in the end? Because it wasn't even like he actually got punished. You know what I mean? Like he did so many horrible things, and like the biggest slap on the wrist that he got was like a short amount of time done. I don't know. Like, how do you even atone for all that? Like, what would you do? Like, how is the best way for him to be punished? Like it's such a weird thing to think about.
I think one of the best lines in the entire show is in season 1, and it really does describe how the show would handle morality moving forward, was when Diane said that she doesn't believe that there are good or bad people. Like, people aren't good or bad. People are just what they do.
Yeah.
Because BoJack desperately wants her to be his moral center throughout the entire show from the beginning, and blatantly asks her, am I a good person? And she can't answer that because whether or not you're good or bad isn't really like telling. It's just what actions are you doing. And I feel like I come from a perspective of where even I feel the worst people who are worse in real life than BoJack is fictionally, even Like, I feel their actions, if they do want to atone for them, they should have a path to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's difficult for me to imagine never being able to, definitely not forgive, because no one who's harmed by someone is obligated to forgive them.
Mm-hmm.
But that if there's no path for someone to atone for a bad decision, then that bad decision or string of bad decisions is essentially a death sentence.
Yeah.
And it's more complicated than that, because if we're looking at Hollywood in particular, people do bad things all the time. And in Hollywood, in real life, people do bad things all the time. And there's no real accountability, or in politics, or in any position of power. If you look at real life examples of people who do bad things that are in positions of power, like BoJack is, you are only able to analyze it from the perspective of a bystander who sees it on the internet. You don't know this person, and you can make a lot of judgments based off of how they act, but you don't know them. The beauty of BoJack is we know BoJack really, really well, extensively. We know all about his history before he was famous, and we know all about his life from season 1 onwards. Like, we're there with him. And we see that he does genuinely want to change and puts that effort in a lot of the time and just constantly fails. And his mother says that basically his flaws are genetic, that he can't fix himself. And that mentality is etched into him. And he tries really hard. Other people also try to remedy their issues, and they succeed, like Princess Carolyn or Todd. They figure themselves out. But BoJack oftentimes just digs himself a bigger hole. But by the end of it, you get, in the first half of season 6, you almost kind of find yourself wanting BoJack to not get held accountable to an extent, because you see how happy he is, and you like BoJack. BoJack is made to be likable. That's what the writers succeed at doing. Despite all the things that he's done, you feel like a bond with him after spending all this time with him. But you know that those dominoes are going to fall. You've seen them get set up throughout season 5 and 6. And when they do, it's really painful, especially how he reacts to it, to where he hits his lowest low possible.
Yeah, like, it really makes you... It makes you mad when he does dumb shit, because you're like, dude, please, like, just stay on your good streak.
Yeah, it's like, we've seen you do better. We know you can do better. And so it is frustrating, but at the same time, it's almost like you feel bad. You feel like it's unfair that his mom tells him it's genetic. It's unfair for him to feel that way, but like, maybe he needs to accept more help, At the same time, it's like the whole thing is unfair and shitty, but you can't take out your problems on other people. And bottom line. But I do think it is important that he is someone who we see who has always wanted to change and is almost constantly making an effort, but with large gaps in between. It is really frustrating.
And that 17 minutes that he waited to get Sarah Lynn help.
Oh my God.
We never find out that happens until way later after the fact. And it changes that scene so much, because it already was a gut-wrenching scene. And now, when you rewatch it, you see that BoJack might have had the ability to change the outcome, but he had a very human reaction that ended up being the worst thing that he could have done in that situation. And going back to what Olivia said and what Claudio's been saying, like, how do you atone for that? And the show leaves it very ambiguous what you can do, other than Diane says, life's a bitch, keep living, in the last episode. And honestly, I mean, aside from actually dying, the best thing BoJack could do is to create positivity in the world and use everything that he's learned to maybe help other people and help himself further. We don't see what he does with that, but if he did do that, he's not a good person. He doesn't magically make him a good person, but what the show's asking us to figure out doesn't give us any answers. What's the value of acknowledging that you've done something wrong and doing your best to try to fix it to varying degrees of success?
I really think I think the writers themselves don't know exactly, or either have mixed reviews, on their opinions of it.
I think it's like an individual determination that you have to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a good show.
I know, it's so good.
The show's so good. There's like so much to talk, like so many different avenues to talk about. Is there anything like funny you guys want to mention about the show?
The last thing we'll talk about is our favorite jokes or like situational stuff. Like just anything ridiculous.
I will start us off. Hi, it's me, Chris. The most funny thing to happen in BoJack Horseman is the character Sextina Aquafina.
Oh my god, Sextina Aquafina!
Yes!
Sextina Aquafina creates a song about abortion entitled Brat Brat Pew Pew. In parentheses, get that fetus, kill that fetus. If you have not seen BoJack Horseman, it does not matter. YouTube it. Go to Netflix, find it. You will be.
It's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
Brat brat pew pew.
It's iconic, and I was forever changed after that episode.
My favorite joke with that song is when Princess Carolyn and Diane try singing it in the car, and they're like, "How's it go? Boop boop, cha cha."
I love
My
the...
silly.
Oh, no, go for it.
My silly thing is the road to Hawaii. That's like just a complete traffic jam, as one might expect when you build such a narrow road to Hawaii. It's like
it's so stupid.
I don't really have much to say on it, but it's absurd.
No, it's a good one because don't they even take a motel like on the road?
Yeah, it takes so long to get there because the distance alone is way too much for a car ride. Not even considering traffic.
So good.
I am really partial to. Well, first and foremost, I just want to highlight that in this show, Jessica Biel leads an underground revolution where they try to eat the gubernatorial candidate for the state of California.
That's such a great episode.
Oh my god.
Never forget.
Oh my god.
And then they do eat Zach Braff.
Jesus. Oh my god, that's right.
And continuing on with my love of Mr. Peanut Butter centric episodes. In the episode, I think it's season 5, where they go through different Halloweens. It's called Mr. Peanut Butter's Booze.
Yeah.
And it's each girlfriend at a BoJack Halloween party. It is so good how they just like constantly change the perspective of which girlfriend he's with. And how I think it's Jessica Biel who's afraid of mummies. And he wants to save her so badly from seeing a mummy as BoJack approaches her with like toilet paper all around him. He wants to so bad. He knows it's a big deal, but he can't help himself. He has to do a whole line, "Are you?" And he starts saying like so many, I forget what the actual joke is, but he keeps on going on and on and on doing this description of the movie he's referencing.
Oh my
ending
god.
with "Don't look back" or "Don't turn around." I can't believe that. And of course, Erica.
Okay, that's my favorite joke in the show.
Please take it away, Claudio.
My favorite joke in the show is a character that we never see, who I kind of wish we saw, but I'm glad we never did. But anytime Mr. Peanut Butter went to any public gathering, he would say, "I want to talk to you," and then get distracted and go, "Erica!" And Erica is his friend that we don't know what she looks like, but by the descriptions, horrifying. Like he says, "Erica, who let you out of the burn ward?"
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And then
you know you're not allowed to be near children.
Or at their engagement party, Mr. Peanut Butter was like, "Long story short, she lost a foot, but she gained a friend."
Yes.
Oh my god.
I love that.
Erica's an icon.
She is.
I don't know if she knows how much she's affected my life, you know? But I love her. She's a goodie.
Oh, can we also just mention really quick the plot line with the spaghetti strainers in season 3?
Oh my god, he wants to make Yes.
And the whole time they're just like, oh yeah, this is gonna go somewhere eventually, right? And then in the final episode, he like saves the underwater town, and Margot Martindale gives her life, or so we think.
Oh my god, that was the biggest cliffhanger when Margot just disappeared.
Yeah, Chris really thought she was gone. He was so
I
sad.
was like, what?
You can't
And
kill
then
her.
when she came back,
It took so long for her to come back to. It took like 2 seasons.
It was
And
so
what
worth
great
it. I was so
reintroduction.
happy.
I think one of my favorite things is Birthday Dad.
Dad.
I
It's
fucking love the
Birthday
idea.
Dad.
And I love how Princess Carolyn was like, you want to commission this birthday card to be a movie?
No, I know just the whole setup of how Birthday Dad came to be, and then it's literally like they're like Birthday Dad, and then the next cutaway is like Birthday Dad. Like,
Okay, I think that's everything.
oh, great.
It's a wrap.
Oh my god, thank you guys so much.
Okay, I guess now we're
the goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
Perfect.
Bye.
Hee hee.